Thanks so much for joining us for 13 News at 11. I'm Jenny Runovich in tonight for Scott. Tonight, Irvington is getting a new next-door neighbor. Not a new restaurant or boutique. It's a data center. The Metropolitan Development Commission giving the final okay, but people against this plan are not giving up. Our Alex Almanza here in studio tonight to walk us through it all. Alex.
Hey there, Jenny. On paper, it's a checkmate for Atlanta-based company DC Blocks, but for people who've been fighting this project for months, they say they're still playing the game.
6 yes votes, 1 no vote. The variance petition has also been approved.
After weeks of ongoing discussions, meetings, and protests, DC Blocks is coming to the east side. Shouts erupted inside the chambers following commissioners' vote to approve the 32-acre data center near Washington Street and Shadeland Avenue.
They almost unanimously voted in favor of this, regardless of the community's input.
Mikey Hess has been fighting the project alongside Eastside residents. Those people now strategizing possible legal action to block DC Blocks.
Furious, angry, you can probably hear it in my voice. I can't wait to challenge this.
One of the district's counselors, Andy Nielsen, supported a last-minute effort to delay the vote, but commissioners said no.
There was stuff being done on the fly, and what we asked for at the beginning was just another 45 days to be able to understand that. The petitioner didn't even understand what they were doing. All just emphasizing the need that we need to slow down and get this right if we're going to move forward.
In support of the project, Councilor Michael Paul Hart facing backlash from residents during and after the meeting. He says he backs it because it sits in an industrial area.
And so it was really hard to look at it and turn away all the positive opportunity that could come from something that most people will honestly probably drive by.
Hart previously was undecided, but says a commitment to local union jobs was a deciding factor.
But it was a really thought through process, and that's the part that I know people don't see, but they need to certainly know about.
The DC Blocks project has already been scaled back in size because of so much controversy. The same company is also under fire in Nashville, Tennessee, as developers plan to build right next to the Nashville Zoo. Nashville leaders are also considering a moratorium on data center development there.
We're looking at a moratorium, which seems to be a political band-aid that's come far too late. We're watching an unelected committee run roughshod over our elected council members, and I think it pisses all of us off.
That moratorium is a fairly new proposal on the table here in Indianapolis. On Monday, it actually passed out of committee, one of the first few hurdles, and it would only apply to new data center plans, allowing the okay for this Irvington project, Jenny.
So if the moratorium passes, this is only temporary. Any idea how long that could potentially last?
Yeah, council leaders say it would end no later than December 31st of next year. So roughly 17 months if it begins in August of 2026. But for much of the same reason Councilor Nielsen just described, councilors say they need more time. City planning staff need more time, and so do residents, not only to have more of those discussions, but to do studies and tighten up these regulations about what a data center exactly is.
And it's interesting you bring that up because before this proposal, the city actually didn't have a definition of a data center.
Yeah, it simply wasn't in the planning vocabulary. So city staff have been taking these petitions really on a case-by-case basis.
I feel like we're learning something with each new project.
Yeah, and you know, it's the future of a lot of cities across Indiana and across the United States.
Yeah, not going away anytime soon. All right, we appreciate you covering it for us. Thanks, Alex. Well, utility bills, they might spike dread when they show up in your mailbox. Now, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission is outlining some new steps that could ease that payment panic. The goal is to make bills more affordable and make it easier to understand what you're actually paying. There are 2 IURC investigations. One looks at return on equity, essentially how much profit utility companies are getting from our bills. The other is investigating trackers used by the companies to adjust rates. We foot the bill for those trackers. So the commission wants utility companies to figure out if trackers are actually needed. This is all happening as AES customers are facing rate hikes. The governor has asked the IURC to reconsider those increases. We asked the IURC chairman if he plans to do it.
A motion was filed. The utilities will have a response to respond in writing to those legal arguments. The petitioning parties will have the opportunity to reply to that, and the commission has 60 days to act. It could either approve the motion, deny the motion, or reopen the record.
So he says it's a complicated puzzle between utilities, advocacy groups, and lawmakers. As for that new report with the 16 steps to help lower bills, you can read it right now at WTHR.com. Indiana leaders will no longer consider race or sex when awarding state contracts. That decision just announced today by Governor Braun. But this all goes back to the 1980s and an Indiana law meant to address disparities in who gets state contracts. Governor Braun and Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita now say that law is unconstitutional. They point to a 2023 Supreme Court decision that said race could no longer be a factor in college admissions.
The government put its thumb on the scale against any business not owned by someone in the state's favored racial or gender categories. This wasn't just special treatment, it was discrimination.
We're just doing what constitutionally, what the Supreme Court said we needed to do.
Now, Democratic lawmakers question the decision to stop enforcing a law they say was about making sure everyone has a fair shot.
If you believe there was no racism in the 80s, and that it's gone completely now, although it never was, you're in fantasy land.
Governor Braun says opportunities should be based on merit rather than race or gender. Both he and Rokita, though, acknowledge no business owners have said they felt discriminated against because of the law.
It was a hot, hazy, humid Wednesday afternoon. We take you live to Bloomington in Monroe County, where temperatures are in the 70s right now. 74. We're still at 82 in Indianapolis, 77 in Lafayette and Muncie, and 79 degrees in Kokomo. We had a few clouds enter the picture today, a little bit of smoke from those wildfires in Canada. Also keeping an eye on some spotty showers and thunderstorms. As close to us as parts of Missouri. I point that out. We get a slight chance of a pop-up tomorrow afternoon with highs in the low to mid 90s, increasing rain chances later this week.
Thanks, Angela. Tonight, a man is under arrest. He's accused of hitting and killing a woman riding an e-scooter downtown. So take a look. This is 26-year-old Brianna Evans. Cameras and crash debris help police track down the suspect in her death.
My daughter finally got some rest last night.
The crash happened Saturday morning at Pennsylvania and Maryland. Evans was visiting Indy and she was planning for her future, but that ended in heartbreak in the heart of our city. She was hit in a crosswalk. The driver kept going, but pieces of a gray Dodge Challenger stayed behind. Officers were able to track the car and its owner, a 40-year-old man now in custody.
Even what the judge does to him here on this earth and in Indiana, there's one judge he can't run from. And the day he has his judgment day with God is going to be horrific.
The suspect is now jailed without bond until an initial hearing. The Marion County prosecutor will make a final decision on formal charges. Here's a quick look at other stories making headlines right now. Tonight, there's a new lawsuit filed against a former Brownsburg daycare. The lawsuit alleges 22-year-old Gabriel Garner sexually abused a child while Garner worked at Main Street University for Kids. Police say detectives originally identified 6 victims of child exploitation in dozens of pictures found on Garner's phone. Garner faces 48 criminal charges. A special prosecutor is calling for the arrest of Johnson County Coroner Mike Pruitt. He says Pruitt violated a no-contact order. Pruitt is facing several charges after a 17-year-old girl's family says he stalked her, sent her unwanted texts, and gave her alcohol. Investigators say Pruitt FaceTimed an old group chat that included the girl. Pruitt said the call was an accident. A hearing on this set for August 6th. An Indy firefighter is recovering from a minor injury after a fire on the near South Side. Firefighters say this case was challenging because of the heat, hydrant access, and porter conditions. It took more than an hour to get things under control. The cause now under investigation. We're getting some new insight tonight on the city's effort to help people experiencing homelessness. City leaders say they've helped more than 200 people find housing through the Streets to Home Indy initiative. They also say they've closed 4 encampments since last August, including this one near Fountain Square. The goal is to end chronic homelessness by 2028. Some good news about Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour. He is back at work after a successful cancer surgery. He posted a video letting people know he's doing okay. Mayor Ridenour says he is still in rehab and will be working half days the rest of the week. They're still working out his schedule. Remember, you can find the latest local stories streaming anytime. Just scan the QR code you see on your screen.